Hello, and welcome back to the Mystic Sister session. So, this will actually be a special little mini episode with myself, Kristen, and I'm calling it episode 3.5 because it relates to building community. In this episode, I'll be joined by my friend Cynthia Sigsbury of Massage Works. Cynthia and I will be hosting a retreat together this fall. In this episode, we'll be discussing our experience with retreats and what we're offering. So today is August 12th. It is a new moon, solar eclipse, and there's a meteor shower tonight. So a lot of good energy for recording this podcast. All right, Cynthia, welcome to Mystic Sisters Sessions. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so thank you first of all for having me. Um, as you said, I'm Cynthia. I've been a massage therapist for over 20 years. I started in 2004 in school. I was a young mother and I had wanted to be a massage therapist since I was a child. And I was working in a factory and I heard a radio commercial for a massage school and I just kind of had that spark reignited in me. And I called them and set an interview, and they accepted me into school. And so I've been doing massage ever since. And yeah, that's my massage backstory, I guess. I also, in 2012, got certified as a core myofascial therapist, but I think it's really, really important to I guess my life mission is to help people feel better. And sometimes that's physically or emotionally or sometimes spiritually.
And you're Reiki certified as well.
Ah, yes. How could I forget that? Yeah. I actually, through our retreats that we have been to, got certified and got my Reiki attunements and got my master attunement at one of the last retreats we went to.
And so we'll get into talking a little bit about the retreats. So Cynthia and I officially met at a retreat. We had met before then. I had gotten a massage from her, but officially we met at a retreat. It was my first one, but she'd already been to several. And I'll tell you a little bit about my retreat story, and then Cynthia will tell you about hers. When I moved to Warrensburg, Missouri, which is where we're both located, in 2018, I had looked online looking into Reiki. It was before I was certified. And so I was just looking for a practitioner. So I found Wellness Within online and they offered Reiki and yoga. And I was looking through their website and I noticed that they offered retreats too. And I was like, oh my goodness, that would be so perfect, like a women's retreat. And they offered them in the free in the spring, in the fall and the spring. Um, and I was like, that would be amazing. But then I didn't do anything with that information for quite some time. And then in 2020, I was pregnant with my second child, my son, and I started having a lot of um, let's say issues like uh, maybe a little bit of a mental health crisis. And so I reached back out, and this organization, Wellness Within, was run by Teresa and Tammy. And so Tammy got a hold of me, but she had moved to St. Louis and they had dissolved their organization, unfortunately, because of COVID. But we chatted for 2 or 3 hours and she helped me with some distance Reiki and then put me in touch with Cynthia to get a massage. She was like, I know the best massage therapist in the world, and she lives in Warrensburg. And she wasn't lying. And so that's when I got my first Cynthia massage. It was amazing. And then she also put me in contact with Teresa, and I started chatting with Teresa. And then one day, Teresa was like, oh, we're having this retreat in the fall. I think this was in September, like early September. If you would like to come. And my heart, I'm very introverted. And so my immediate reaction is always kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But then I'm like, this is literally what you wanted. So I thought about it. I did pass on that fall one because it was coming up in a couple of weeks. I had a baby. I think my son was one then. Um, and but then I regretted it instantly not going. So for the spring one, it was like a month later. I was like, sign me up for the spring. I'm going to the spring one. And so I did. I went to the spring one. That was my very first retreat. I think that was spring of 2023 would have been my first retreat, and absolutely fell in love. I will say I was a little terrified going there because I had only met Cynthia in person once, and then I knew Tammy and Teresa from phone conversations and Zoom only. So I sent my husband my address. I like pinned the address. I'm like, this is where I'm going. If you don't hear back from me, I've been murdered. But luckily that wasn't the case. And I knew it wasn't. My intuition was like, no, this is going to be transformative, like life changing. Um, Absolutely loved it. Loved all the ladies. Met Cynthia, I met Teresa, Tam unfortunately wasn't at that one, but there were several other kind of members of the organization that were there and fell in love. And then every spring and fall after that, I was like, sign me up. I'm going. And just completely transformed my life. I can't, it's so hard to describe how it changes you. But it's like a built-in community too, which, focuses on this kind of episode of um, elaborating on building community. Like a treat is a wonderful way to build community, especially like a spiritual community with these retreats. And then thinking back, I was like, oh my goodness, this is completely full circle. Like I manifested this by looking at that website, seeing the retreat, saying, I want to go on that retreat. And then a few years later, I'm going on the retreat. Um, yeah, where else do I go from there? But just an amazing experience. Like I said, with the community, when I was younger, I think I mentioned this in past podcast episodes, I was very into like druids, and I loved reading like The Priestess of Avalon and those sorts of stories by Marion Zimmer Bradley. And I always thought that would be amazing to study herbalism and work with other women. Um, and this, I feel like, is my modern day way of doing that. I'm getting into herbalism now. And I also have this amazing group of women with the Mystic Sisters, with Cynthia, with some other individuals, the individuals that I used to go on the retreat with. And it has just completely changed my life. You always have someone in your corner, someone to talk to, someone that understands. And yeah, and I will hand it over to Cynthia to share her experiences.
I am so glad that we both went to the retreats and met each other. I mean that through Tammy and Teresa. But yeah, I kind of we have a little shop in Warrensburg with crystals and tarot cards and all of this. And the lady who runs it, her name is Becky, and she's super awesome. And she used to do some Reiki circles at her shop where you could just give like a love donation and then come and learn about Reiki. And that was kind of my first like practicing Reiki with other people, whereas I had been interested in it from childhood. That's another story. I used to go to the library and check out huge stacks of books when I was a kid about crystals and Reiki and aromatherapy and psychology and all the gamut. But anyways, it was these Reiki circles at that shop where I met Tammy, and at least that's what Tammy and I have decided because neither one of us remembers meeting each other. So we just said we've always known each other, but we're pretty sure it was probably through the through the Reiki circles at that shop. Um, and so in getting to talk and know her, she invited me to, that spirit circle group. And that's where I learned about the retreats. And I was really intrigued by it. I was So even though I was into all of this woo-woo stuff as a child, I took like a hard turn in when I was like probably 19, 20, and went headfirst into a religion, and all of that stuff was like a huge no-no. Anything with spiritism, divination, and all that, it was like no. And so I was in that for like 10, somewhere between 10 and 15 years. And so when I moved back to Warrensburg and I met Tammy and them, I was just starting to come out of that other mindset and was really kind of unsure about getting into all of that stuff again. Um, but meeting everybody, I mean, it made me feel so comfortable. And so by the time I decided to go to a retreat, um, I was a little more comfortable with it. I really liked the ladies in the spirit group. And so I just kind of jumped right in. And I think that was in 2017 or 2018. But anyways, I loved it so much that I ended up going to like 9 retreats so far. I think 9 or 10 maybe. Um, so I went to a lot of them, and there've been different people at each one. And then as time went on, like we had some repeaters, some people who were like solid members of the that would just go to the retreats. And I think everybody became like family, which was so like needed for me at that time, and I'm sure it was for everybody else too, because we kept, saying how great it was and how wonderful everybody was, and it was really awesome to like see everybody build each other up, and um, there wasn't, you know, like that cattiness where women talk about each other behind their back. Everybody was very supportive, and if they were talking about somebody else, it was a good it was something good about them. So I really loved that. But like you said, the retreats were very life-changing. Um, I mean, I got to learn a lot more about myself, get more comfortable in my skin, be comfortable around about expressing myself around other women, because I was like very like closed off and scared to like share myself. Sometimes I have a problem expressing certain emotions even when I'm by myself. So, yeah, everybody in the group was so supportive and encouraging of us to, you know, even scream. Like we did a screaming exercise one time, like where we yelled or screamed at the top of our lungs, and that was super cool. But I think my favorite overall of like everything that happens at the retreats, I think like my favorite thing is spirit gallery, where we do a bonfire, and Teresa always like she talks to um spirit beings, whether that be somebody who passed in your life or whatever. But yes, there's something magical about being around that bonfire, and you know, talking with, spirits. Um, that I think that's my favorite part. But yeah, absolutely life changing.
Yeah, and she does some channeling too.
Hmm.
And you can feel it because she'll usually start. She's a medium, and she'll usually start with um, communicating with spirit. But then when she starts channeling, it's just this shift in energy, and her voice changes, and you're like, oh wow, something's really happening here. And it's just incredible every time. I absolutely love that too.
Yeah, that's what gets me is like it's not only like the visual cue, like it's not just how she's talking or whatever, like you can literally feel the energy
Mhm.
change around her. Yeah, the aura shift, I guess.
Got like goosebumps even just like thinking about it. 'Cause it's just you have to experience it to like understand it. But it's just like this, yeah, change of energy, change of field, and it's just incredible.
Yeah. I I don't remember what the link was that led me to think of this, but like meditation. Like I kind of like I developed a meditation practice because like partly because of this group, but yeah, I would meditate in my massage room oftentimes, and I came across the idea that somebody said you could heal your eyesight by meditation, and I've worn glasses like pretty much my whole life, and they're on unless I'm sleeping or in the shower. So I was like, I wonder if that's possible for me. And I just kind of, that was like all the thought I gave it, like, hey, spirit, I wonder if that's possible for me. And then not too long later, I was meditating in my massage room, and I always take my glasses off and the lights are dim and everything. And so I'm meditating. I got in the zone, what I call it. And I got like the feeling to open my eyes while I was meditating. And then I'm looking around the room and everything is like 2020, like crystal clear, and everything looks more beautiful than I could imagine it. And I'm like, this is my massage room that I'm in every day. Why is it like so beautiful? and and it was just so clear. And I didn't give I didn't think about that at the time, but later on that night I was like, wait a second, I didn't have my glasses on and I was seeing like crystal clear. Yeah, that was crazy. So that's a side story.
No, that's incredible. Yeah, that's amazing. Um, yeah, I have a side story too. Like sometimes when we were doing the spirit gallery, or sometimes I call it spirit circle, um, you'll get personal messages from people. And one time Teresa looked at me and she goes, "Get it together." And I was like, like kind of offended. And I'm like, I'm trying. I'm trying. And I
I
think all of
remember
us
that.
kind of, yeah, all of us kind of came to the retreats because there was, an aspect of our lives that we wanted to improve, like we were healing. And this has helped us all so much on our healing journeys. But she goes, no, no, the message was get it together. There's something that you want to form, get it together. And I was working my corporate job then, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. There is. Like, I wanted to leave my corporate job and start my own business and like build community. And so then a couple of years later, yeah, I did. I quit and had my third eye Raven Reiki and joined Mystic Sisters. And yeah, so it's crazy how those things will like come to pass later on too.
That's so cool. I know our life mission or whatever. I mean, sometimes it's so hard to figure out. And like I remember, like I've been a massage therapist for 20 years. It's all I ever wanted to do. Um, and in 2020, whenever, we literally couldn't do massage for a couple of months, and then we were supposed to like wear gloves and do all of this ridiculous stuff in order to massage people. I started looking into other avenues of things that I might be able to do. And for years, I kept feeling like there's something else I need to do, but I don't know what. And like, I mean, it drove me nuts for like years. And I think it's starting to come clear now on the path that I'm, trying to take. But yeah, getting it together, that's hard. But it was at the retreats that, people were pointing out like that you know, I'm going to be able to do whatever this is or what I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I got like a lot of encouragement to do this thing. I just, you
Hmm.
know, but I think I think I'm kind of pulling it together now, and I think it has a lot to do with like expanding my reach, but I think sometimes have a really hard time listening to what, my I guess my intuition or guidance to like I don't know. I'm like, am I dumb? Am I missing something? I know spirit's telling me, but I am I missing all the signs? Well, I don't know. But yeah,
No, you definitely are.
but we're trying to I think part of getting it together is doing these retreats.
Hmm. Absolutely. And oh goodness, I had something in my brain and then I just whooshed out of there. Um, but our very last retreat, so it had been, um, it had started, I believe, with Teresa and Tammy together, and then Tammy moved to St. Louis. So Teresa was kind of independently putting the retreats together, and she told us that that chapter of her life was closing at the last retreat that we attended together. And now I remember what I was going to say. So she did tell us that she said that she would still be involved in any way she could, but she wanted to kind of, pass the torch if anyone wanted to pick it up. And so that's why Cynthia and I have come together because we want to take on that challenge because it was so transformative for us that we want to be able to do that for other people. And that very last retreat, it kind of puts you in a flow state, like you're on a kind of a high for a while after you leave the retreat. So in that flow state, I got home and I was like, I think I can do it. I think I can leave my corporate job. And so I crunched all the numbers and put everything together and I'm like, I can't. I see a path forward. I can do this. And so through that flow state of the last retreat is what led me into leaving my corporate job and starting my own business and and then slowly something I have come to this point of wanting to move forward and offering the retreats. Because we, like I said, we both love them so much and they've been so transformative for both of us that we want to continue that. So we kind of want to get into what we're offering for the retreat that we're offering. So it'll be 3 days and 2 nights. So it's from September 25th through the 27th of this year, 2026, in the Ozark Mountains of central to southern Missouri. So we would start in the evening of September 25th and to the late morning of September 27th. And what is included? So all meals and snacks would be included. And actually, that's kind of where Teresa comes in because she um, always provided us with all those meals and snacks and was amazing with that. And she's going to continue with that portion of the retreats, which we are so grateful for. And we'll have some yoga, Reiki, that spirit circle, spirit gallery that we were talking about, ecstatic dance, meditation, spiritual discussions, and then much more. We'll do the fire night. Um, yeah, is there anything else that you can think of to elaborate on that?
Just you going through that list just reminded me of like, whenever I first, like before I was at a retreat, I'm like, oh, how many things can you really like, yo, you're gonna go rest and relax. And like that's a retreat. But man, the activities are so tailored to helping everybody grow spiritually and in a way that you don't really always know that you're doing spiritual work. Um, but it just grows you as a person. And so, yeah, I mean, all of the activities are just like so wonderful. So, just to point that out, eh, I love all of that and being able to express yourself at like the dance and stuff. Like I'm like really reserved or about moving in front of other women or in front of anybody, even myself sometimes. But like yeah, just to be able to feel comfortable getting weird with other people and all
Mm.
of that. Yeah, the activities are amazing.
Yeah, try to, cultivate that environment of sisterhood and it being a safe place. And all the retreats that I've gone to, it absolutely was. Yeah, it's hard to describe that because I think a lot of us have that sister wound. And sister wound can be a like some people are like, think of your literal sister. It can be your little literal sister, but in a broader sense, sister wound is kind of um, wounding around female relationships. So I think especially, I think we're both millennials or uh, cuspy.
Yeah.
when we grew up. There was a very competitive environment. We were pitted against each other a lot. I think that's an element of the patriarchy. We'll go there. But it was very competitive. And I felt a shift in the last few years of women supporting other women. And we want to contribute to that. It's absolutely an environment of women supporting other women. And you just feel so comfortable in these environments. That's really all I can say because until you're there, it's hard to describe.
It is hard to describe. Like, yeah, your expectations versus reality. Reality is always different. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
All
It
right.
leaves
Do
you
you
feeling good.
mhm. Anything that we are forgetting or that you want to add before we close out?
Not that I can think of right now.
I'm sure we'll have a million things pop in our heads afterwards. Like, oh, we should have
Right.
said this.
Exactly.
All right. So we're going to close out this episode, but please email us or DM us if you're interested. And this concludes episode 3.5 on our retreat. And you can find our socials linked wherever you're listening from. So we're on YouTube, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. And I will put all the details with all of our socials and email in there if you are interested in attending this retreat. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep coming home to yourself.